Dementia does not introduce itself with a loud bang. It quietly crawls in, starting with forgetting where you put your bag or keys, forgetting where you are going, forgetting names and faces. Then the world becomes unfamiliar. Dementia is a thief that does not rob you at once, but slowly until your brain is empty and nothing feels the same.
What were you doing in the house?
This is the journey of two families that dementia has become part of them. A daughter-in-law who is too familiar with dementia since her father-in-law's case is not the first in the family, and the daughter who was forced to halt her life to take care of her mother. She's patient, but behind her eyes, there is grief. Apart from being a caretaker, she is tasked to remember for two.
Your son is called who?
Moya.
Moya is your son or your brother?
He's not my brother and he's not my...
My name is Agutu Rosa.
Mimi nimelia to a point ilifika mahali I think machozi iliisha. What goes through my mind is like, what really happened for my mom to get dementia?
Nyako is this one, not him.
Nicole Wanja's life changed in 2023 when she halted all the plans she had for herself and went back home to take care of her mother. Dementia had come knocking in their home. In 2022, Nicole's maternal cousin called her inquiring if her mother was okay.
Actually, it's my cousin who realized it. A cousin called Stephanie. She was at a burial. I was not there. It was back in Kakamega. So my mom could say hi to some people, forget she did that, and say hi again. So my cousin was like, is auntie okay?
8 months later, in May 2023, during a different burial in Chavakali, Nicole's mother behaved the same way. Say hello to people, forget, then go back and say hello again.
It came to September 2023, the same year. That's when I realized there's a problem. You could tell her something, she'll come back to you after 2 minutes. She's like, what did you say? I'm like, Mom, I told you to do ABCD. And she'll be like, you didn't tell me anything. So that's when I came to realize there's a problem. I called her siblings, mostly her brother, George Moya.
In 2024, between January and February, Charity's condition worsened.
You could tell her to go and have a bath. She will go pour herself water and come out after 2 minutes, and she'll tell you she has showered.
In June 2024, they went to see a neurologist and their fears were confirmed. Charity had dementia.
It has not been easy. It has been a long journey. I was mostly dealing with customer care most of the time. Anything to do with sales and marketing, customer care, all of that. But I had to quit and leave what I was doing to take care of my mom.
Charity had to be monitored full-time. She can only feed herself and bathe herself. With time, those two things will also be impossible for her to do. Apart from memory loss, Charity started hallucinating.
I can't leave her for a minute. Hata hii kwenda kwa duka, just rush and back. You can't leave her for a very long time. And if you leave like the kitchen, you have to lock it. Utapata tu it's messed up. Chakula, there's a time I left her, the kitchen was open. Nilipata amechemsha food, amewekea watu 5. And then I'm like, Mom, 5 people. Ni akina nani? Ati si kuna watu sitting. She has started hallucinating. She sees people. She even talks.
Sometimes, when she's confused, her outlet is anger. And Nicole is the recipient of the rage.
Mamangu amenichapa mara nyingi. I won't lie. She has slapped me, she has hit my back. Poke nafika mahali ananigonga, I'm like, what else? What else? Because you'll try to tell her, don't do this, don't do that. But she needs an explanation. Why are you telling me not to do this? So you have to really talk to her.
To manage the aggression, Nicole had to change her diet, less sugars and wheat. Before Nicole learned to lock her inside the house, there's a time she left when the gate was open and found her near the main road and was brought back by neighbors. Nicole misses the mother she had before dementia, the talks they had, the advice.
Because at times you feel like your mother needs to know specific things about you, not your friends. You want to really discuss it with your mother. But you do not have that lady like your mom to talk to. So unapata tu saa zingine unajiongelesha.
For caregivers to be able to give their all, they need self-care. Seeing therapists, taking breaks, and being surrounded by people to talk to.
Tata kisha kwambia akona dementia, go straight and see a therapist. Usikae kungoja ati umeenda 2-3 years na mzazi. Enda direct kwa therapist. Hapo ndo therapist ataweza kuambia how to handle. Mimi nimelia to a point ilifika mahali I think machozi iliisha. My fears is mom becoming worse because that's a journey I have to pass through. Naambiwa this thing has no cure, she'll become worse. So like okay, right now I feel like I'm at the edge. So when it becomes worse, what am I going to do?
There are 7 stages of dementia. Stage 1, patient functions normally, but brain function and structure starts to deteriorate. Stage 2, person will start to experience occasional lapses in memory, forgetting names, where they placed things, and many more. Stage 3, memory lapses become more noticeable, getting lost, forgetting words, names, and loved ones, plus verbal repetition. Stage 4, social withdrawal, forgetting their own personal history and no knowledge of recent or current events. Most patients aren't diagnosed with dementia until they have reached stage 5. Stage 5 can last 2 to 4 years. Patients can no longer function without at least some assistance. Stage 6, they require assistance with bathing, dressing, eating, toileting, and other self-care activities. Stage 7 is considered the end of dementia. At this stage, the patient has met all previous stages and is no longer able to provide self-care. Monica Njeri became a champion for dementia awareness after experiencing it twice in her family. First, her mother-in-law who died, then now her father-in-law. She has an organization supporting women who have dementia and women caregivers.
We carry the biggest burden of the disease. We are mostly affected by the disease. Researchers need to go deeper and tell us why. But another reason which is so obvious, women live longer. Hence, even in the support groups that I set up in the low-income areas, we find there are more women.
Monica talks about the myths around dementia.
Healthcare will dismiss you. Your family will dismiss you. They'll say their loved one is old, and yet it's a disease like any other disease. You're stigmatized, and they say it's witchcraft, and you're demon possessed. You need deliverance. There's a curse that you need to check as a family.
Since it's a progressive disease, maintenance is costly.
It's a marathon. You know, many other, because it's a progressive disease, there's no cure yet. And since it's progressive, it's not like cancer, where we have cancer survivors. We don't have dementia survivors.
Paid caregiving is expensive. For those who can afford, it makes the burden a little lighter.
How is the feeling?
And Wamboi Mugwero is a professional caregiver with 6 years experience.
As you take care of a dementia patient, you don't wait for her to recover. It will just go getting worse. So it's a bit hard and tricky. It needs a lot of patience, passion about what you're doing to manage to take care of a dementia patient. So your role will keep changing in day-to-day life as dementia deteriorates. So you'll get your patient was able to do this. Now at this moment she can't or he can't. So you need to improve your services.
What really is dementia? Dr. Zul Merali, founding director of Brain and Mind Institute, defines dementia as a condition where your brain is not working like it used to.
It is caused by dysfunction in the brain. And there are many, many reasons how the brain function can be damaged. For example, if you have high blood pressure, you can have a breakage of a vessel in the brain that can, when the blood leaks out in the brain, it can cause damage to that area of the brain. A lot of dementia really can be prevented. So it is caused by lifestyle, life course events, and conditions that you may not control properly. For example, hypertension, as I was talking about, circulation in the brain. We can have diabetes is a big risk factor. Aging is a big risk factor. But then bad diet, not social isolation, not having enough cognitive stimulation, they all can contribute towards detriment of the brain function that can lead to dementia.
Dr. Merali says Some of the cognitive stimulation activities include puzzles, learning new languages, taking a different road to your work, or anything that is not necessarily always routine.
About 45 to 50% of dementia can be prevented. Now, the studies were all done in the global north. So, are the same risk factors of relevance to Africa? So, to test this concept, what we have done is we've set up a trial, a study which is called Fingers Africa. It's led by a couple of our scientists, in particular Dr. Chi Udumomo, who is setting up this trial to identify what are the modifiable risk factors at play here.
Geriatrician Dr. Tasneem Yamani says most of the time dementia affects older persons above 60, but that does not exclude people from getting what is called early onset dementia.
You're not preventing the disease. You're preventing its progression from being very fast and giving people as much functional capacity as possible. You can slow down the progression, which means you're able to stay as functional and as integrated within a normal functional capacity as much as possible, given an early detection is done. A lot of people don't understand where the relationship between exercise and brain is. Exercise is known to prevent cognitive impairment because it helps stimulate what we call the brain neuroprotective factors, which is like the nutrition for the brain cells. That growth factor helps, your brain cells remain, the integrity of the cell to remain. Now, when you're exercising and you already have a dementia, whichever brain cells are still doing what they're meant to properly are kept from degenerating. Also psychologically supporting patients who have dementia help, because they tend to then get withdrawn because they start feeling isolated, not because somebody is isolating them, because when they're told something and they don't remember it, they lose confidence, they lose dignity. So they try and just prefer to be left alone, withdraw, because they're like, we don't remember what we're told and we don't want to say it out loud. A lot of the stigma and taboos are associated with dementia.
Stigma is a big issue. The fact that people don't understand the condition. You can imagine if you're in your household, if they think your older person is practicing witchcraft, the stigma now moves beyond the patient and also affects the larger family or the caregivers. So because of the way patients behave, sometimes they are locked in the houses or they are isolated. Family members don't want to see them go outside. So that is an issue because the patient will start having the self-stigma. They start feeling maybe I'm not worthy.
This is for children whose parents cannot remember them anymore. This is for the spouse who is now living the vows in sickness and in health, for better, for worse. This is for the overwhelmed caregivers. Dementia may steal names and faces, but it cannot erase the essence of connection. In the end, we hold on not to what is remembered, but to what is felt, and that somehow is enough. Agutu Rosa, KTN.